What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's like beating a dead horse in many ways when you talk about the Bulls and their struggles, especially in the second half, but I don't think people are really taking a grasp of how big our second half performance problems may be. So, ladies and gentlemen, I took it upon myself to do math. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I opened up a calculator. Well, I didn't. I used the calculator app, and I decided to actually calculate the halves that the Bulls have had, especially the second half, from the Warriors game up until now. And I want to show you, out of the 9 games that we have played from that Warriors game until now, just how bad the Chicago Bulls have been in the second half of games. So strap on in. It's not going to be a fun video, but maybe it'll be an educational one. And maybe this can help get the Bulls into their skulls that the second half needs a lot of work. And if you're not going to get that work, then there's no chance that this Bulls is really going to elevate anywhere near the 8th, 7th, 6th seeds, and will probably remain where we are, and that is the 9th seed. And I don't think anybody wants to see that. Well, imagine wanting to go from the 10th seed last season to just move up 1 seed to the 9th seed. That is no progress whatsoever. Individual progress, maybe, but as a team, that's not where we want to be. So we got a lot to work on, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the stats I'm going to provide. Keep in mind, I'm just a man, and mans do make mistakes. So at the end of the day, some of these might be slightly off, but trust me, a lot of it should be well on point. So let's get started. We have played 9 games, I believe, since that Golden State Warriors game. So the first game is against the Golden State Warriors, and this is pretty straightforward. I brought it to the start because I knew this is when a lot of our problems began. The Warriors ended up winning that half by 22 points. There was a 40-point performance in the third quarter there for the Golden State Warriors, and they ended up coming back and dominating the Chicago Bulls. 22-point lead in a half, in the second half, by the way. We're not talking about first halves, we're talking about directly second halves. The Golden State Warriors won the second half by 22 points. That is not good enough for the Chicago Bulls to let any team in a half of basketball beat you by 22 points. So that's something we need to improve on. Keep in mind, some of these games we have won as well. But again, it goes to show the problems. Like this next game against the San Antonio Spurs. We ended up winning this game in general. But what happened in the second half of the Chicago Bulls? Well, even against the San Antonio Spurs, the Bulls lost the second half battle. It only was by 2 points, so again, not a drastic loss of the second half, but the Spurs beat us in the second half of a basketball game. And that, again, is a problem for the Chicago Bulls. But that might not be the only problem. The next game, the Bulls and the Cavs. Well, we lost that one too. The Cavs, in the second half, beat the Bulls by 4 points. And the Cavs ended up beating us this game in general. Now, the first half of that game was actually the biggest problem. But it still goes to show the Bulls couldn't get it done against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the second half of that game either. Let's move into this next game. So, the Bulls versus the Raptors. This was the game where we were away from home. And oh my goodness, that is right. 4 games in, the Bulls actually won a first half battle, and by a staggering amount of 1 point. That is fantastic, isn't it? We only beat the Toronto Raptors in the second half of that game by 1 point. The third and the fourth quarters, tallying it all up, adding it all up, and minusing the difference, the Bulls won the second half of that game by 1 point. Wow. But there's a little bit of positives there. The Bulls and the Grizzlies, we won that half by 19 points. We absolutely demolished the Memphis Grizzlies, and the second half performance shows that, in which we actually dominated a battle. We actually dominated the second half, and we did so pretty convincingly by 19 points. But then you turn to the West Coast trip, the Phoenix Suns. The Suns absolutely destroyed us with a second half comeback, and the Suns won their half, the second half, by 19 points. That is not good enough. Absolutely not. But something that was pretty surprising to me was the Lakers game. The Bulls actually won the second half performance by 7 points. Look, to be fair, this one, in my opinion, is a little bit of a bias there because the game was well and truly over before the Bulls actually surged in the fourth quarter. We scored like 39 points in the fourth quarter, whatever the case may be. But we were well out of the game by the time the Bulls actually made that comeback. So you could put that as an outlier, as an excuse, but stats are stats. The stats do suggest the Bulls won the second half against the Lakers. So there you go. The Bulls in the Portland game. You're thinking about Portland. Wow, oh my goodness. Portland is a team we should be dominating, right? We won the game, yes, but the second half performance was tied. Both teams scored the exact amount of points. The exact same amount of points. I think it was 51 apiece, I believe, between the Bulls and the Portland Trail Blazers. So, we can't say we lost that half. Can't say that we won it either. And then, of course, the Raptors game speaks for itself. We got absolutely destroyed in the second half against the Raptors. The Raptors actually beat us by 21 points in the second half. So that goes to show a lot of problems that the Chicago Bulls have had. But keep in mind, what I'm calculating here, you add up the Bulls' points in the second half. You add up the Raptors' points, or whatever team it is, in the second half, and you minus the difference. And it just goes to show that in all these games, the Bulls have massive problems. 9 games played. Let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. Exactly. 9 games on the dot. I should have added the 10th game just for a laugh. But the 9 games on the dot. And we won 3. 3 second half performances with 1 tie. That's 1/3. 1/3 of the, I guess mathematically, of the 9 games, we won the second half of games. And this is not exactly the best opponents we could be facing out here. I mean, the Lakers was a winnable game. I know the Suns beat us in the end, but the Suns, the way that we played that first half was a winnable game. This game against the Raptors was a winnable game. The Portland Trail Blazers game was a winnable game. You know, it's not like we're versing the best teams in the world, yet we've only won 1/3 of our second half performances. Does that get your attention now, ladies and gentlemen? Does that show the problems that the Chicago Bulls players, team, staff, organization have when it comes to the second half? I would love to do this statistic for the whole season, but I actually don't have time to do that, to be honest. So maybe someone else can do it. Maybe that's a stat that can be thrown around on Twitter one day. I don't know. But out of the 9 games from that Golden State Warriors massacre to the Chicago Bulls loss today against the Raptors, we've only won 3 for second half performances. That is a joke. And hopefully the Bulls players can wake up to this fact and start delivering better second half performances. And by the way, if I actually had to measure the third quarter performances the Chicago Bulls have had compared to just the fourth quarter and the third quarter, we would have lost a lot more than that, by the way. I gave the Bulls the benefit of the doubt by adding that fourth quarter in there for most of those games. Because one thing the Bulls are actually known to be good at is actually leading the, league in terms of clutch minute productions. We are very good in clutch minutes this season. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt just by adding the fourth quarter. But that is still not good enough, ladies and gentlemen. And hopefully they can wake up to this. Wake up to the fact that when we go into the halftime break, whatever's going on in that locker room, whatever the coach is saying, whatever the players are doing, for all we know, there could be games of FIFA being played in that locker room and they could give no cares in the world. I'm sure that's not what's happening, but how are we supposed to know? Whatever they're doing is not working and it's time to figure it out and change it. And if you don't change it, then we're going to see more second half performances fall, and therefore we are going to see the Bulls team lose more games because of how badly we approach our second half performances. The Chicago Bulls, the players, the coach, the organization in general, it's time to do better. It's time to stop wasting Bulls fans' times that wants to watch your game every single time you play. I'll be watching the Charlotte Hornets game tomorrow, whether I like it or not. But the last thing I want to see is a replica of every single game being thrown in my face and expecting me to take it and expecting me to enjoy that production. It's time to do better, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to stop going with the same script. It's time to switch it up. How about actually having a good, dominating second half for a change? How about we actually blow a team out for a change? I don't think we've seen that all season. Maybe the Memphis Grizzlies, maybe that game is considered a blowout. But from start to finish, I've not truly seen a blowout from this Bulls team. So, it's time to step it up now, don't you think? That's what I think. What do you guys think? Thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. As you can tell, I'm clearly still not over the loss. It's not even the loss that hurts me. It's all the things leading up to this loss, including this loss, that hurts me. And, you know, Charlotte has to be the response, but I'm hoping it's not more of the same. Let's wait and see. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.